I need some tractor parts, but you don't handle my kind.
That's not my fault, old man. Remember how I worked on you back in 1941? I thought I was going to sell you a tractor, a plow, and a disc harrow. But somehow I missed on the tractor.
I got a real bargain on that tractor, Frank.
I'm not so sure about that.
What do you mean?
Well, Tom, regardless of what you paid for it, I can show you where you could have saved a lot of money in the long run if you'd have bought a John Deere Model B 7 years ago. And that doesn't take into consideration all the other operating advantages you could have enjoyed all these years.
Well, maybe I'll give you a chance to prove all that. Figure I'll be needing a new tractor one of these days.
Look, Tom, have you been reading about the new A and B tractors in the furrow?
Yes, I have.
Ever seen one operate in the field?
No, not yet.
Well, Tom, you're in for a real surprise. There's just nothing on the market that can compare with them for modern design and proved performance.
All right, it's John Deere Day, and I have a whole bunch of stuff I want to do to this thing before I put it away, and we're going to get started right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Rusty Oliver, man. This is my B John Deere that my great-grandpa bought new, and then my grandpa farmed with. I washed it off a little bit last night because it was getting a little bit muddy, and apparently I didn't do a very good job because you can still see some stuff, but that's okay. We'll clean it up again later. What I want to do is lots of things. I want to change the rear end oil. I want to change the engine oil. And then also, I got right here in my hand a brand new coil and a condenser that are supposed to be super high performance. So perhaps we won't have as much trouble with starting. Now, it was sitting here last night while I was washing it, and then it died. So I don't know if I got it too wet and then it quit. I'm hoping that's all it was. But what I'm thinking here is it's pretty nasty and hot still, and I'd like to find me some shade. So I guess I'm gonna do this in the yard. Whatever. But we'll see if we can get it started up here and back it into the yard, into the shade where we can work, and then it won't be so nasty. Uh-oh. We haven't had that problem for a while.
Lift up that cushion, Mr. Jennings.
Well, what do you know? There's the battery.
Yes, sir. Right where it's easy to get out for servicing.
What's going on? That is kind of loose. Did the popping make it loose? Well, it's running now, so whatever we do to it, if it doesn't run, we know we made it worse.
What's this, the choke?
Right.
It's not the same type as on your tractor, Tom. This one is semi-automatic. You pull it out, and it adjusts itself to prevent flooding when the engine starts.
Looks like a good feature.
Here's the starter button, the light switch for both front and rear lights, the control lever for opening and closing the radiator shutter, and all the gauges are right here in front of you. This is the shift lever for handling all gear changes, 6 forward speeds and 1 reverse, and here's your hand clutch.
I don't think I'd like a hand clutch.
Why not, Tom?
Well, I'm used to a foot clutch.
A foot clutch is okay on a smaller tractor, Tom, where you can back into most of your equipment and hook up without getting off the seat. But with a tractor of this size, you're pulling larger plows, disc harrows, and other drawn tools. And there are a lot of times when you have to get off the tractor. With this hand clutch, you can hook up your drawn implements or operate your belt-driven machines right from the ground. And here's another advantage. You're on that tractor for long periods at a time. If you want to stand up a while, you can operate the hand clutch without sitting down.
I never thought of that.
All right. I really don't want to change oil in the yard in case I kill my grass, but I don't know. At this point, I am more worried about comfort than I am anything else.
Why don't you take her around once, Mr. Jennings?
By golly, I will, Bill.
First, you advance the throttle lever. Now you pull out the choke. Then you step on the starter button.
Okie doke. This is a Wico X Magneto. Used on a lot of different stuff back in the day. I believe the OC3 crawlers used it. Obviously they had a cap that had more holes because John Deere has only 2 cylinders.
It all goes back to those 2 cylinders again, Frank. The simplicity of that first Model D appealed to me as a young man. I could do all the servicing and make the minor repairs myself. I kept cost records on it, and our other 2 tractors, like Bill is doing on this one. I'd stack those records against the records on any other tractors in the country.
Say, Roy, what was our charge for the complete overhaul on your old B 2 years ago?
I think it was around $90.
That sounds about right.
But it's the same kind of idea. Like even like Wisconsin single-cylinder engines could use this Magneto. They had it configured for different stuff. One thing that I learned early on, because this one had been put together wrong after having it rebuilt somewhere, is that the 2-cylinder John Deere uses different timing scale for the marks that are on the back of this thing. So if you time it up like you would for anything else, this tractor would be not exactly, the impulse wouldn't be in time correctly. And I can't remember how they count it now. Like for instance, one of them, one system counts every hash mark as 1 degree, and this one counts like every hash mark as 2.5 degrees or something like that. I don't know. Stuff like that. All right. The faithful viewers will know that that is a brand new cap and gasket because we had a bad meltdown. This should be a very simple process. Remember when I say that, because it almost never turns out that way. But basically, everything is just held in with screws. Minus the bar that we're going to have to put through the center of that Magneto. Okay, wait a minute now here. I guess I gotta take that out of the way. I don't remember that being too... I'm gonna try to just loosen this. That's gonna be our problem, isn't it? That screw ain't no good. So, what's Ross do? He could cry. That's a choice He's going to have to get that loose though, because it's not going to play ball till I do. You see, this screw is not very gooder. I guess what he could do is take this one all the way out first. And then what he could do is get like I think there's a pair of wire pliers in the truck. Maybe grip that head and turn it out. Probably would be a good time to find a new screw, but I don't know. I don't know if we'll find that thing or not. I guess we could continue on life's way too and see if it's even gonna, like everything's gonna play nice. See, what we're trying to do here is drop stuff into the grass, because that always works good when that happens. Come on, baby. Boy, there's no air movement here at all, is there? It is hot. All right. There. Still looks nice and clean in there from the last 90 times I've had this apart. So this is your coil. That's all there is to that. Wonder if I could... Yeah, how loose is that? Is the question. Maybe I don't have to get that screw out. Maybe I can manually pure pressure it into working. Let's have a look at this new expensive thing. It looks much different. Like, it looks kind of like it was, you know, the thing. That one actually says Wico on it. But I'm pretty sure that that was a aftermarket jobby. All right, friends. So one of the benefits of YouTube and videoing is when I'm editing, I have time to review things a second time that happened. And if you may have seen, whilst I was putting that coil in, when I took the core out of that old coil and put it in the new one, I was second guessing myself, thinking, did I put this in the same way that it was? And in the video, I was looking at that again, and I did put it in the same way as the one I took out, but that's not the right way. Like, that one was put in wrong anyway. I looked at it several times, because when I put the thing in here, I wasn't happy with the way it really went in there. And so I went on the internet and I watched all kinds of videos of people taking them apart, original ones. I wanted to see original ones, not just somebody rebuilding one, because they could have done the same thing. And I think it's in upside down. And I'm not saying that that's going to make a difference, but it could make a difference. Since this is operated off of magnets, I don't know. But I'm going to take it apart and put the core in the right way, and then we're going to see if it makes the spark hotter. Because that's what I'm wondering, is if this whole time I haven't had a very good spark because that core has been in wrong. And the person who did it, it was about 25 years ago when we took this Magneto to an old guy who did a Magneto repair shop. He was about maybe 40 minutes from here. and it came back, and that thing was never right. It was really hard to start, and the first thing I realized, I took this off of the tractor, and that's where I learned about those timing marks. He had it timed, the impulse timed wrong, so that essentially the magneto was not timed right inside itself, and then whatever. So I changed that, put it back on the tractor. It did make a difference, but I've always felt like it's just not a hot spark like it should be. And I'm hoping that maybe this is finally the clue that will make that different. Because it just feels like there's sometimes when the tractor, it's not getting a hot enough spark. Like it's I don't know how to explain that. But we're going to see if this makes any difference. Come on. I really hope that this makes a difference, because I have just been beside myself with this tractor over the years, and I just could not figure out why the thing, I don't know what to say to you. You know, Grandpa was able to, like, I know he said one winter time he got it stuck in the fall, and it sat outside uncovered all winter long in the ruts. And in the springtime, he started it right up, walked out there, fired it up, and drove it out of the ruts. So it's always been a puzzle to me that the tractor sitting in the shed seems to be doing worse than, you know, all that. Now I gotta get these clips out. I'm hoping I can do this without that condenser, taking that condenser out. I think there was enough room. See, it's gonna change the way that it sits a little bit in there. And what puzzles me is it's not even supposed to be able to go in there wrong. Okay? Like, I had it in like this. Let's look at this. And it's really supposed to go in like this. The only thing I can really see that would be gaining us more is that it's going to have more surface area to grab onto. And I don't know that that's going to make any difference at all. But that little bit of change, who knows? Maybe it's going to be oh so much better. I don't know. It might not even run now. It's been like that so long. That might actually hold that in there tighter too, the way these clips are. That might be another thing. I don't know. I've never found anybody to discuss this topic before, of if that could be put in upside down. But I just happened to think of that, and then through the editing I was able to watch it several times and really have a chance to think about it. I mean, this is an example of the stuff you get into when you work on an old tractor, because not having done, you know, one right after the other, I don't know a lot about this. And so all I could do is follow suit of what was there. You know, I just put it together the way that I took it apart. But if it was put together wrong, sometimes you don't know or catch that right away. All right. like I said, is this gonna make a difference? I don't know. I wonder if I can, let me hook the battery up and crank it over and see if it sparks at the points. Because that might be able to give me a visual of what I think, if it really is better or worse. Oh, I like what I see already. I like what I see already. I hope that's really true and it's not just my imagination. But it looks like it's finally throwing a hot spark. Man, I've messed with this for years and years. And if this is what it takes, I mean, I had all the stuff all along. All right, friends. The test is now. Will it start super easy and will it run noticeably better? I guess we won't really know that until we put it through its paces again. But well, boys, I think it started easier. I might be wrong. Oh, I think we made a difference. Yeah, I don't think it would have done that before. I think that really made a difference. All this time, it's not missing. Like it would always, like if you did this, you could tell that it would only fire on one for a little bit. Listen to that. Yeah, that's something. I don't know why. I don't think it would have idled that low before. I think it did make a difference. Fires back up instantly though. That's how I know it did make a difference. See, that's going to make a difference on all of our settings and everything, because if it's got a hotter spark now, it's not going to be the same. You know, it doesn't take as much fuel to do things. If you have ignition problems on a tractor, you can sometimes overcome it by pulling out the choke, and people think, oh, it's a carburetor problem. Well, no, what you're doing is you're giving it more fuel, so it's easier to ignite, which covers up the ignition problem. But this thing's idling awesome now. It would have never done that before. Listen to how low it idles. So this video is going to end up being 2 parts because I'm going to have to split it right here because I already had way more than I needed for one. But I am super pumped. I think I finally found the thing that was keeping this from, you know, doing what it needed to be. Wow. A simple thing like that was all it took. So pay attention, because if you work on something, even if somebody else worked on it, it doesn't mean they did it right. And that was the case with this poor Magneto. So that's pretty cool. That's awesome. We'll shut it off now. Nighty night, John Deere. It'll take it a while to run out of... Instead of shutting it off, why don't we take it for a drive? We can get to it. I mean, we can get out of here. There's only 9% battery, but I gotta see if it makes that much difference. I can tell it already made a difference just by the way it acts when you try to put the clutch in. It doesn't have that miss that it had before. It would always like cut out and then it would go. See, there we go. That's beautiful. Oh yeah, it's a lot better. Oh yeah, a lot better. I think we got it pretty good and noticeably better. So this is probably a good place to call this one. In the next part of the video, we'll tackle changing the oil and all that stuff. But I am very happy with what I accomplished here today because I think I finally made a noticeable difference to how it runs. And it was all because of that little metal bar being flipped upside down. So hopefully it keeps this up because it's running pretty sweet right now.
Well, Tom, we're holding up these folks. It's way past dinner time.
Say, that reminds me. Mom sent me down to invite you to eat with us. Sure. Come on, we can talk about something else for a while. It's fried chicken.
Fried chicken? What do you say, Tom? We can't lose.
Lose? What could you lose? First you get Roy and Bill to gang up on me and sell me a tractor. Then you get out of buying my dinner like you promised. I think you win. Twice.